Picture this. If you are a critical thinker, you must be knowing that most of the time people who get dropped out, they make a lot of money, while people who does everything perfectly in the school and colleges, they land on a good job, they get paid enough, and they also live a good life. I'm not saying, but it's more of a 9 to 5 life where they don't really get that liberty. And pretty much depends. If you're in the software market, then you might get paid more, or if you're in other market, then you might not get paid much. There are struggles they face every single day. They pay taxes and they do that kind of stuff. While people who walk on a different direction from the crowd, they actually build the empires. And there's something wrong with the school system. It has like it is testing you for your memory, it is testing you for being an obedient person, it is testing you for different kind of stuff, which is not meant for a humankind. You just need to think out of the box in order to create different things, but school doesn't let you do that. And that leads me to a really beautiful story. Henry Ford was labeled as an ignorant pacifist during the World War, and he sued that news company who created that kind of article, and he just wanted to prove himself that he's not the person who only knows about the automobiles. He knows about a lot of stuff apart from automobiles, and he's not an ignorant person. So um, he was brought to the court. There were like two parties in the court. Opposition brought him to the witness box and was supposed to answer a few questions, and they were just trying to justify that why we call him ignorant. And Henry Ford was answering different questions. So lawyer is like, picture this: the lawyer is in the court, he's asking Ford different questions about history and like some numbers, some dates, and things like that, which is pretty much general knowledge based. And Ford is trying to answer. After a few questions, Ford flipped out and replied to the lawyer that these are the dumb questions I don't need to answer. You know what? I have on my table different electric wired buttons, on pressing which there would be a right person on my table give me the exact information what I need. Why do you think I should clutter my brain with all this kind of unnecessary stuff which I don't really need right now? And that floored the lawyer, and all the person in the courtroom realized that he is a smart person because he knows about the limitation of human being, that you can't really know everything by yourself. You need to understand that you need to work with the right people to achieve different things. There are people, there's more about the team. Every single rich person talks about that thing, that you need to surround yourself with right persons, and apart from that, you also need to have a right team. Like, different departments should be led by the person who is having expertise in those departments. Andrew Carnegie, who owned the steel company, like the biggest steel company of the world, and he himself claims that he didn't know much about his technical department, and he never wished to know about it either. And that pretty much makes it clear: we are human beings, we are the creatures of imitation. We need to model the approach of other successful people who have been successful in their life, and they never claim that you need to know everything. While school teaches you that you need to know this stuff, you need to know this programming language, you need to know this stuff, you need to know this algorithms and stuff like that in order to get a job and work 9 to 5 for the company, and they spend the rest of their life as a slave for different companies and different CEOs of different organizations. They live on the pity of other people who are their CEOs, who are their managing directors, and if something goes wrong in the market, like recession, they will get kicked out by the company itself, and Google is doing the same. So that's pretty much the scenario. You need to choose for yourself that what you want to do. If you want to work for yourself, then you need to have the right people. And it's not just about the people only. Um, Knowledge is everywhere. You just need to understand that what kind of knowledge you want to use right now to achieve kind of a goal. So what is more important, like cluttering your brain with different kind of knowledge, or knowing the problem in the first hand and then afterwards getting right knowledge from different sources? It could be people, it could be courses, it could be books, it could be anything, but just knowing yourself, knowing your goals in the first place, and then having a structured approach. So this kind of conscience comes when you start thinking for yourself instead of going with that school simulation, which goes from 12 years of school up to your PhD of 5 years, and it just goes all the way. It's pretty much kind of a business. I don't trust this kind of systems because it's not built for you. It's built for, I can't really claim this kind of things, but it's not for you. You can do that because the way this whole system is made, because you can really sustain in the market without having any education. And we know there's just pretty much a certificate which holds no value personally, but still it is required as a prerequisite to enter any place as an employee, or like there are like different scenarios people face in their life, and they need to have those degrees and certificates and stuff like that. But you better know what is good for you, and you think for yourself. And the best thing to do is know the problem in the first hand, and then afterwards you can come up with a solution required for that. You can come up with the people required for that. You can just like search for the right people who is having right expertise, who has a right experience, because you don't know everything. You could have a good experience in one thing, but what about the other aspects? And business is run by multiple aspects, so that is the most important part.